recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios, Meanjin, Brisbane.
On 102.1 FM.
And broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Zed Games.
Zed Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture. Want to reach out?
Share your hot take?
Or do you just want to share your favourite game?
Find us on socials at Zed Games AU.
Yes. Anyway, you're listening to 4ZZZ.
That's us.
This is Zed Games. I am your host, Paul, for the evening, and joining to me is my good friend, Maylee.
Hi, I'm Maylee.
You're looking well, Maylee?
I'm feeling better than I was.
We are in post-PAX recovery at the moment. Yeah. I, unlike Maylee, have learnt not to let people spit on me at conventions, but...
What's the point of going to a convention if you're not...
It's true.
I wanted to say swapping spit, but that...
Did you know, I for a long time when we were doing like this interview series, I wanted to call it Swapping Spit. And I thought it was an excellent name, and nobody else agreed with me.
I like it.
Yeah, well... In
a gross way.
Yeah, well, you know, it's evocative. It makes everyone think a little bit. Yeah. Anyway... before we get too deep into talking about our adventures,
yes,
we're going to hear some of Zahra's spit, and they will be talking about the news.
Sounds good.
This week in gaming news, gotta hack 'em all. Game Freak has issued a statement that they experienced a data breach affecting the cases of 2,606 current and former employees. The Pokemon developers assured that the vulnerability has been patched since. The data leak also reportedly contained data such as a yet-to-be-announced Pokemon game, reportedly codenamed Gaia, a project codenamed Synapse, which might be a hint towards a Pokemon MMO, plot information for an unreleased sequel to Detective Pikachu movie, the one that was supposed to release this year, a live-action show on Netflix, Switch 2 stuff, and reportedly a lot more. None of that has been confirmed by Game Freak, however. Panic on the Disco Elysium. The most Disco Elysium thing just happened. Multiple groups of former Disco Elysium developers have each formed studios, and they have all had identical announcements. We will be making a spiritual successor to Disco Elysium. Of course, this has sparked debate about which one would be the true spiritual successor, whatever that means. Each project is a little different. Longdew Game Studios is making what they call a psychogeographic RPG, where the world and characters shift depending on your choices. Dark Math Games has XXX Night Shift, which looks just like Disco Elysium in tone, UI design, and even voice acting. Summer Eternal has come out with a dramatic blood red website and a manifesto about the exploitation of game developers. There is also a project by Zoom, but many key developers have been dropped from it, as well as a fifth studio that formed during all this called Red Info Limited, with no projects announced as of yet. So that makes 5 studios, 4 Disco Elysium projects announced. Steam Deck! PAX Oz has treated us well this year, bringing the announcement that Valve will officially bring the Steam Deck to Australia in November. Pre-orders are open now if you want to lock one in, if pre-ordering is your thing. The 256GB LCD deck is $649, the 512GB OLED deck is $899, and the 1TB OLED deck is $1,049. News nibbles. Sony has announced PlayStation The Concert, a world tour that'll display a compilation of music from various Sony games like The Last of Us and God of War. Europe's tour dates and stops have been announced. The United States and other countries, hopefully that's us, will have to be patient. Tetris Forever will be released on November 12th. A celebration of Tetris, it will contain 15 classic Tetris games, an hour-long documentary, and a new Tetris experience where players can walk through different Tetris eras. The lawsuits keep coming, and they don't stop coming. Those involved in the lawsuits contesting that the Activision Blizzard acquisition in 2022 have settled, where both sides agreed to dismiss the case permanently and pay their own legal fees. Until Dawn will be in theaters in April 2025. Directed by David Sandberg, it's a live-action adaptation of the 2015 horror game, which is basically an interactive movie to begin with. No word on whether it'll be released outside of the United States, however. And now for some upcoming games. October 17th brings Blazing Strike for the PS5, Switch and PC, A Quiet Place, The Road Ahead for the PS5, Xbox and PC, Super Mario Party Jamboree for the Switch. October 18th brings Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants Unleashed for the PS5, Switch, Xbox and PC, Unknown 9 Awakening for the PS5, Xbox and PC, and October 22nd will bring Forest Hills The Last Year for the PC, and Linked, Banner of the Spark for the PC. That's it this week in gaming news.
Thank you for that, Zahra. Well, what a bonanza of news we've had.
I feel newsed. I feel jazzed. I feel psychically, geographically enhanced.
Psychogeographic, that is true. So a few things we missed. We buried the lead in the Pokemon story because the real leak was on some of the lore that got leaked, which was, and I'm sorry, I'm not a Pokemon man. One of the
You're forgiven.
Basically, human Pokemon relations resulting in offspring was going to be in one of the games and potentially still influenced its lore, but it didn't get included. I wonder why.
I mean, there's future games. We can always hold out hope that they'll just take the really weird.
What Pokemon could seduce you? I'd say Diglett for myself, but if you've just got one Diglett, you'd go to the Doug trio, wouldn't you?
Now I'm learning intriguing things about you.
Oh yeah, I mean it's the obvious choice.
Well, no, the obvious choice is the giant Baneri Gigamaxed. They gave her torn fishnets,
but Gigamaxed.
Yeah, she's Gigamaxed.
That's
definitely not the term, but
that's the side of you that we've learned about. Also, so much Disco Elysium. It is true. Nothing is more appropriate than a communist collective that made an amazing thing. Once it falls apart, just splintering it off into 4 to 5 different groups. Which, I mean, they must be communicating because they all did it in 1 week. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe it's some.
The good thing is we get 4 to 5 Disco Elysiums.
Yeah, they're going to be good.
Yeah. Some of them will be good at least. And if we're lucky, all of them will be. That would be great. Steam Deck in Australia.
Sounds great, but I'm poor.
Yes. The prices are actually pretty good. It's like,
I did see that, actually. I Googled it.
$650 for the base, $850 for the OLED half terabyte, and like $1,000 for the terabyte. Which, if you're just comparing that to like a computer, which it is, I mean, you can just straight up use it as your desktop if you wanted. Plug it into a monitor and keyboard and mouse and run, not Windows software, but pretty much everything runs on it.
Maybe if my computer dies.
Yeah. Look, honestly, I've been singing the praises for ages, and I don't see me stopping anytime soon. I play 90% of my games, PC games, on the deck these days. Shame on Zahra for not including the most important news of the week, and that is the Alarmo. That's right. Nintendo are releasing an alarm clock, and it watches you while you sleep.
I think maybe Zahra had priorities.
No. And look, I've just got a little bit of audio from the Alarmo here.
Oh, no.
Let's see what it's like to wake up with Alarmo. Do you hear that?
Oh, I can hear that. Okay, that's not the actual sound. Nintendo. I'm glad they haven't lost the weird an alarm clock that watches you sleep and automatically turns off as you get up and continues to annoy you if you just toss and turn in bed. But get this, it doesn't work if you don't sleep alone.
Oh. Nintendo is only for
For single people.
I couldn't think of a nice way to say single people.
Or couples, or trouples, or moresomes that like to sleep in separate beds.
Nice, celibate, family-friendly fun.
I guess you could make like a bedside table that sits in the middle of your bed, and so that it just focuses on one person then.
2 going in each direction.
Oh.
1 for each. That's sweet.
That's right. It's only a certain amount of money, which I didn't look up in Australia because, look, honestly, I will not buy one of these, and I will judge anyone that does. But it'd be what if it worked with the Switch 2 as some sort of like Wii U thing, a second screen? They're going to have one exclusive game that runs only on the Alamo.
If you had to pitch another really weird bit of Nintendo hardware, like this horrible alarm clock, where would you take?
Well, it's actually kind of obvious because Nintendo.
I'm sorry.
No, that wasn't supposed to be some sort of like passive aggressive.
No,
I don't know anything about games. Because Nintendo, if you look at it, have always pursued the same ideas. Like the Power Glove was just a precursor for Wiimote. You know, the original Game & Watches then became the Game Boy DS because they wanted the 2 screens and everything. That worked. The portability with switches around there. So they've kind of actually got most of their dreams in. The dream that they haven't been able to land is their vitality sensor, which was going to come. So they really want to do something that's hooked up to like your biometrics, because they're already watching you sleep. What else can they do? So I reckon we'll see something like that in the future. And I think once they've done everything, they'll just close shop and leave. We're done. We've done everything we need.
My name is Cameron Smith-Randick, and I am the creator of Away From Home. We are based, my programmer is based here in Australia in Adelaide, and I am based in the United States in Michigan. Away From Home is a pixel rhythm RPG, similar to games like Undertale, Earthbound, Final Fantasy, and Lisa the Painful, but that one's more obscure, so most people don't know that one. But find it on Steam, itch.io, and Newgrounds, and 2 weeks after we launch it on those, we'll have it on Xbox. We will be launching it October 22nd. It'll be completely free.
Yes, that was one of our spots from developers that I grabbed at PAX, just spruiking their bits there. That game, Away From Home, as he said, comes out very soon, and it's free, and it's very impressive pixel art, and it's pretty fun. So give it a look. This is Zed Games!
Woo!
I am Paul, and joining me is Maylee. And now we're going to do one of my favourite things, and that's not play the Alamario sound. That's review. Good. Yeah.
You're not feeling it.
I'm feeling it. We are going to be talking about Neva, which is the new game by Nomada Studios, who previously made Gris, which was a beautiful 2D platformer, just very art-driven, absolutely gorgeous. So what they've done as a follow-up is a absolutely gorgeous 2D platformer with a slightly different style. And it is very, very much like Gris, for better or worse. The game primarily is about your relationship with a dog. It's not a real dog. It's a fictional wolfy creature magical thing.
Are you saying that in that it's fictional in the game, or because it's a video game character?
It's a fantasy creature. You're in a fantasy world. You're doing fantasy. It's very similar to...
but it is a real dog creature in the game.
In the game, yeah. No, she's not imagining it. They're real.
Okay. Seems like such a weird thing to specify.
I just meant that it's not a
magic
wolf.
Dog.
It's a magic dog. Yeah, magic dog. And it very much like if you know like Mononoke Heim, it is you're sort of a warrior woman, and you got a great big wolf and a little baby wolf. And sort of to set the tone here, I'm actually going to go to part of an interview I did with Graham Struthers, the COO of Devolver, who published this game, and he'll start here talking about sort of the lead narrative designer here, talking to everyone and the effect.
So he said, look, when I was coming up with the idea of this game, I just became a father. So I recently become a father, and I was really getting my head around the idea that my job is to basically bring this child up with my wife, but ultimately, so they'll be strong enough to leave. They'll reach that point where they will leave me. So you get people beginning to think, well, that's pretty heavy. He goes, But at the same time, my parents are getting much, much older. And now my job is actually also to take care of my parents. And this is the thing I was thinking about. So I wanted to create this game where you have this idea that the thing that you love is going to grow up and leave you. And the thing that brought you into the world is also going to leave you. We're all in the room like going, do you want us to cry? Are you trying to make us all cry? And it was just like one of those moments where you're thinking, oh, that's just incredible. Like,
yeah, and then the intro of the game, which reflects that. I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this right now.
Well, again, that's when Devolver is a really interesting company because once we sign games, we tend to leave them to just incubate, and the producers are working with them all the time. But generally speaking, you kind of like let them get on and bake. So that particular time, we'd all just got together after COVID for the first time. We gathered everybody in Austin. And that was already quite an emotional thing because after 2 or 3 years of not seeing each other. And Andrew, who's the head of production, was saying, we've got a work in progress of the intro to the game. Show it. And we weren't ready for it. So he shows this, and there's just people staring at this screen crying.
It does certainly start happening.
So, thanks, Andrew.
And thank you, Graham, for those comments, which perfectly matches my reaction when I started the game. I didn't actually know the content of it, and I don't know if I'm ready to play this. It's very emotional in the storytelling, so you can have it. It's the first thing you see in the game, but I'm still not going to detail exactly what happens in that. It's tragic. So you play through the game. It is much like Gris, I was saying before, platformer, and much like Gris, it has a really slow on-ramp. So it's beautiful, you're walking around, but the game takes its time getting more complicated. And as it does, the Neva, who's the dog's name, they will, through different seasons, their nature will change as they grow. So your relationship with them changes as well. That also changes the abilities that you have access to in the game. So by sort of the big fights in the game, while not super mechanically complex, this isn't, a Devil May Cry or something, it gets really, really satisfying. The final battle, I beat it in one go, so we're not saying it's not going to be a pull your teeth out kind of game, but I felt like the biggest badass in the world while I was doing it. It was very emotionally fulfilling, and also I just felt cool as. It's a little deceiving going in because it's sort of split over 4 seasons. So I'm at the end of the 3rd season, and I'm like, well, that was epic. I wonder what could possibly happen now. Oh, well, it's kind of like an epilogue then. So the 3rd season is the last season, as it were. But yeah, there's still a little bit more to play. It's very straightforward. There's hidden flowers. You collect them. You get a little bit of an extra epilogue at the end of the game. It's a very satisfying 4 to 5 hour long game. It is absolutely beautiful. And that generally sums it up. Just be ready. If you are an animal lover, especially the beginning will knock you down a little bit, and then you'll get lifted up. You'll have a great time.
And then do you get knocked down again later on at any point?
Get knocked down again. They're never going to keep me down. Get knocked down. They're never going to keep me down. That's all right. The ending is hopeful.
Not as bad as the start.
No. The start is a gut wrench.
That's good.
Hi, I'm Mads. I'm the director at Fine Feathered Fiends, and we are making a game called Draculeshti. Draculeshti is a romantic horror visual novel. It is an adaptation of Dracula, where you are trapped in Castle Dracula. Yeah, our general pitch is gay Dracula, need we say more? We are due out in 2025. However, you can hop on Steam right now and download a demo to see a bit of each of the different love interests and get familiar with the story. So go on and give it a go.
You're listening to 4ZZZ, and this is Zed Games. And joining me is my good friend Maylee and a surprise guest, my good friend Alexa.
Hello.
Hello, lovely to see you. I saw you very briefly at PAX on the floor, and then I didn't say hello and didn't see you ever again.
It's like there's thousands of people there and, miles of territory to cover.
I see a lot of of my my dev crushes though, because every time they get into the distance, and I have a radar that picks them up, and I go to everyone, that's Dave from Powerhoof. He's my dev crush. Him and Jacob Janerka. Ooh, love him. But yes, what a show this year.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah,
I always enjoy my trips to PAX. And even in an election year, I should be covering the election.
Priorities.
We just pulled you out of the mud and into our mud. Did you go to Parallels the night before?
I didn't, no.
Parallels is something always to look out for if you're heading down there. It's always the night before PAX, and it's sort of a series of talks for developers that are sort of a bit like counterculture. It's parallel to PAX. That's the concept of it. And they just get bigger and bigger each year, and it's always a nice little show. But go back to PAX now. Yes, what was your weekend like?
Well, on the Friday I was presenting my own panel. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. That was the Queer Eye Queer History panel that I do every year. Oh my god, I had so much fun.
Yes, and I had our panel with Rani. Maylee was in attendance, but not on the panel, on Alone in the Dark 2008 on Saturday morning, which I admittedly got so obsessed with making video for, I didn't sleep for 42 hours over that Friday to Saturday because I just needed to edit something else and get something else in there. There's nothing like organizing about 30 hours of edited footage for a 1 hour panel.
I think I spent a month on questions.
I
really shouldn't have spent a month on questions.
It's fun. You get your production and your writing in. Everything feels good. The show floor this year, it did lack the big players. No Nintendo, no Sony, no Xbox. But for me, that made very little difference because my focus is primarily going from indie dev to indie dev, and it was quite a showing this year.
Yeah, it was a good set of indie games this year. I noticed that they pulled the indie games and the indie board games together this year.
Yes, that was
which
a
was
nice
a really
touch.
Good touch. Yeah.
And I love going around the student projects. There was one which was a co-op game where one person was playing a third-person platformer, and the other person had a matrix of blocks. And by putting blocks in these slots, they could build platforms for the other person to go on, like physical toys you were playing with. And it was like, it's not supposed to be a commercial product. They're not looking at that, but
that's a neat idea. There's definitely a game mechanic there that's worth exploring.
And suddenly we're all pitching like educational games and stuff and extending the concept. Like, look, we just made it for a project. It's not, but it's lovely when you find stuff like that. And even off the floor, out at dinner, there was just a bunch of sort of random people we're loosely connected with, and a young developer from Brisbane was showing a prototype for his game just on a Steam Deck. And it's one of the most promising games I've seen in a while. Oh. And that's just the kind of thing that can happen at PAX because everyone's down there.
You going to shout him out?
Nah, not yet.
Not yet? Not ready?
Nah. I'll get him out later. He knows who he is. I had a lovely time. What are you, Maylee? What did you were less into the video, more into the tabletop side, weren't you?
Yes, I mean I did check out all the indie video games, but I spent a lot of my time in the board gaming section. Amazing. I didn't actually know this until I had already gotten my tickets to go down, but there's a group where... Sorry. I got too excited.
Calm your thoughts. Let it flow.
There was a group there where they had indie board game makers, Australian indie board game makers, come and play through their prototypes.
Yes, there's quite a bit of that.
So I got through about a dozen of those over the weekend, and then I got some tabletop role-playing game. I had a good conversation with Fragged Empire, which was a post-apocalyptic TTRPG system world, and it has this really cool lore, and the guy who wrote it, he's multiple systems in this world and all these little source books, and I got to play a game of that and then talk to the guy about the world. And he's very passionate. Very cool game. Very cool system.
I think they're still there. I think it's IGDA, Independent Game Designers Association. Yeah. They used to do a show bag. Oh, good. So I've just got a bunch of like one-off like little card games and stuff and everything. I think it was quite hard to produce, but it was always like they still have stuff there that people are making, and it's really independent. It's really small runs and people just experimenting. It can be very, very satisfying.
I picked up some really cool. I think I got like 5 from them, and they don't do a show bag anymore. I didn't know that's cool, but
that's the past, yeah.
They do. They did, like, if you played 3, I think, you got tokens, and then you got cool enamel pins. I was playing them anyway, but I like collecting enamel pins. So
they've gamified buying their games.
No, just playing them.
Oh,
just the play testing them.
Oh,
you got a token.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, the big esports sort of venue was gone this year. In place of it was a dodgeball competition.
Yes.
I saw that. I thought that was really weird, but very interesting.
It's because DreamHack is in Australia now.
Oh, yeah.
And ESL did it at PAX, so now it's a competing platform. It is actually one of the things that is happening now with DreamHack, and now got South by Southwest in Sydney, where we're starting to... It's like streaming services. It's starting to splinter, which is fine. Everyone wants their own piece, but it was nice when everything was focused in one place. So all different types. It's like, I'm not a cosplayer, but I see a lot of passionate cosplayers out there. I think the only photo I took of someone was someone dressed as a Joker from Balatro.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Good catch. There's lots of Has-Been Hotel cosplays this year.
Oh, yes.
And I saw quite a lot of Disco Elysium.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I saw some guy's face, and I'm like, man, that guy could just pass as... And then I saw he had a green jacket on and everything. I'm like, oh, you've deliberately cut your facial hair like that. Of course. Cosplay.
I was surprised by the amount of cosplayers cosplaying things that weren't games or in any way related to games.
It's its own thing.
I've only ever been to broader nerdy conventions, and I'm like, yeah, that's fair, but...
There are people that purchase a ticket and never go on the convention floor. They simply go on the outside runs and get photos and talk to other cosplayers and everything. It's just its own scene. It's like you've got your gamers, you've got your people that go for hardware. That's
fair.
Always weird. You got your tabletop, you've got your role players.
I actually did used to be big into the cosplay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What did you used to cosplay?
I will not confess that on the air.
Was it a dog trio?
It was a dog trio. You wish.
I do. And then one of the big events at PAX was we played some Call to the Lamb earlier. Call to the Lamb decided it would be very appropriate at PAX to host a number of weddings.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful. Everyone joining the cult.
I especially liked the furry wedding. There was one of them was a furry wedding.
I only saw the second one, so was it the first one they were furries?
The second one, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, there were 4 sessions, and
yeah,
I think the first session on the second day had a furry wedding.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't see that one.
Good for them.
I mean, that's very thematically on point.
It's more fitting.
Well, and I was chatting to the organizer, and he wasn't sure that it would work at all if they get. And the first day they put out the call, they got 40 to 50 applications in one day. So people both love getting married and love Call to the Lamb.
I mean, I'd see it. If I had someone that I wanted to get married to and a game that I loved was like, come get married at our random fake pop-up temple.
Plus, it's a wedding you don't have to organise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
apparently a few of them were actual real weddings.
Yeah.
It's quite amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So I did have a standout. I did like the Chaosium Call of Cthulhu panel this year.
Oh, yes.
Oh, they played a version of a scenario of that game where they had reanimated limbs as the main protagonists. They also had in that session Mark Mears, the voice of Commander Shepard from
Mass Effect.
Mass Effect, of course. Sorry. My brain is not working after that session.
We all fill in each other's gaps.
Yeah.
Like a Doug trio.
Like a Doug trio. Stop. Oh, dig up.
Yeah. Dig up, stupid. There was one game I saw several times before I got to play it. My arms are longer now.
Yes.
Taking a lot of cues from sort of some Thank Goodness You're Here, which we were just looking for. Just sort of a pure comedy game about a long arm that is trying to steal everything. And we saw the video before I played the game, and it instantly became a meme in my friends because it's just this arm sneaking through a train, going towards a bike, and the voice actor with the bike's just like, "That's my bike. That's my favorite bike. Oh, my bike is gone." And it was so low energy from the comedian voice actor, they had to redesign the character because it was just they couldn't not have that voice. So yeah, lots of fun things going around. Speaking of fun things going around,
my name's Jacob. I'm making a game called Game Over. It's a musical RPG. Here's a little sneak peek of the music. Skilly bop 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 bop. Bop. Did I peek it? I'm based in Melbourne, Belgrave, up in the hills. Working on it for 7 years, solo dev. Check it out on Steam. If you look up Game Over, you'll find it. I think I'm on Instagram under Treedle Duck. That's Tree DLE Duck. I think it's my personal one. I've only got one photo. I don't use Instagram, but I'll see you there.
That's right. Be sure to find him on Instagram with his one photo. Good game though. Fun times. You're listening to 4ZZZ. This is Zed Games.
I'm Paul.
And I am Maylee.
Yes.
And I like Gigamax.
And I like Doug Trio.
Ooh, what a pair. What a kooky pair we make.
It's getting too late.
Yes. I mean, it's well past my bedtime.
I can tell.
Yeah. We're, 6:55 at the moment. I mean, sheesh.
You got to get up soon.
I got to get my grind on. But yes, PAX was very lovely this year. It was nice seeing you down there.
Yes.
Drag more of the team down each year, I think. And
I'll be there next year.
Yeah, it's always a good community event, which is what I like about it.
Yeah.
That brings us to the end of tonight's show, though. Very sad, very sad. So, good night, y'all. Catch us all again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Oh, look, we've got 10 seconds left. Surprise me.
There's also lesbians in the gay Dracula game.
Woo! Swab and spit, Doug Trio, let's go!
Thanks for listening to Zed Games.
If you'd like to listen to more, you can find us on the Community Radio Plus app
or find us on socials at ZED Games AU.
See you next time.